VCT Americas has been an interesting mess for the most part.
No, baby!
For one, you can't really tell anymore who's the clear-cut top team in the region. You've got NRG and G2 struggling to find their place in the meta, MIBR has also shown weakness, and we have Sentinels trying to make a comeback and save their season. C9 is also making big changes in the middle of the season, and to everyone's surprise, Crew is looking like the best team in Americas right now. Well, that's until 100T put them on their knees and gave them their first loss in Stage 1. What was already an exciting VCT Americas has just become even more exciting and unpredictable. Welcome to snstry, and today we're talking VCT Americas, specifically Group Omega, and the unexpected turn of events that shook up the whole playoff picture. It's now anyone's game, well, except for EG, as 100 Thieves blew the field wide open. If you've been out of the loop, 100 Thieves beat Group Omega's #1 seed Crew and created a three-way tie between them, Sentinels, and NRG. We're literally in a timeline where NRG, the defending world champs, might not make it to the playoffs. I think it's fair to assume that no one expected Crew to get dismantled by the team owned by Ewok's brother. For one, 100 Thieves lost to NRG and a Sentinels team that barely has any team identity yet. The only team they've beaten before this surprising turn of events was EG, which isn't really something worth noting. And speaking of what was formerly known as World Champions EG, does anyone know why Potter was not present in their most recent game? Is EG actually cooked without her? Anyway, the most interesting thing to come out of this, coincidentally, is that Sentinels is set to face NRG this week. And it does not need to be said, but this is most definitely a do-or-die battle for both teams. Who do you think will win and move forward to the playoffs? On paper, NRG should win this matchup very easily. They are the world champions after all. They have the champion's pedigree in their veins, and I think they're starting to stabilize for the most part. Contrast that to Sentinels, who have a new coach and a new duelist trying to find their way in an unfamiliar territory, plus a rebuilding team that is still figuring out their chemistry, experiencing growing pains along the way, but the good news is they're steadily improving. And again, this would be an easy win for NRG, but this being a do-or-die match, I'd say make things more complicated. In my opinion, NRG has more to lose compared to Sen. Sure, the players can say they don't think about being the defending champions at all, but who are they kidding though? Being a champion is now part of their identity. Before they were trying to prove something, like they had a chip on their shoulder. Now those imaginary chips on their shoulders have been replaced with the imaginary championship belts. The champion's pedigree, so to speak. And compare it to what Sentinels have. You've got a team that was already at the bottom, already being roasted, and already counted out. Right now, they're looking like a bunch of ragtag rejects. Jonah P was kicked from G2, Aspes didn't want Cortesia back, John Cutie was kicked from the IGL position only to come back now, Jerwin kicked by the fans for not being tense, and Redux, well, what I'm trying to say is that Sen at this point is a team that has nothing to lose and everything to gain. I think they should come into this match with that mentality if they want to have a chance of winning. They were already at the bottom this year and there's nowhere to go but up. Forget the pressure from the fans and go 0 dark 30 all week and purely focus on the game coming ahead. So, who do you think will step up in Sen and have a big game? Now, let's talk about the team responsible for this three-way tie, 100 Thieves. I have made a video about them before. Sadly, not a lot of you were into it, but that's fine. And in that video, I talked about how 100 Thieves could be the team to shake up VCT Americas. I'm not making any bold claims yet, but beating Crew could very well be the spark that transforms 100 Thieves from a maybe into a total powerhouse. As I said earlier, no one expected them to beat Crew. Maybe a handful of 100T loyalists did. And they're now booking their tickets to London. Well, they're still in the playoffs, but I guess, sure, whatever. And either way, confidence should be at an all-time high in the 100 Thieves camp right now. The question is, can they sustain this momentum until their next match? They will be up against the defending kickoff champs Furia on the weekend, and it doesn't need to be said that this is a must-win for them. If they win against Furia, not only do they beat two great teams in Americas right now, but they will also be a part of another three-way tie between Furia and whoever wins the SEN versus NRG match. And this is the most fun part of this all. The race to the playoffs couldn't be any closer, and that's why I think we're in for a treat this weekend. All of these should be banger matches, and I expect to see elite levels of Valorant being played. Before we go into the scenarios, let's look at one other match happening this weekend between Crew and EG. The funny thing is that if 100 Thieves beats Furia and Flankmaster Com's team somehow beats Crew, I don't even know how that will be possible, but if it happens, we will be getting a four-way tie between Crew, Furia, 100 Thieves, and whoever wins SEN versus NRG. It goes to show that Americas is as unpredictable as it gets right now. So now, let's look at the possible playoff scenarios. The simplest scenario we could have is if NRG and Furia win. If NRG wins, they will be climbing up to a 3-2 record, while Furia will have a 4-1 record. If you're a 100 Thieves fan, you would really hate this one because I'm pretty sure this scenario just straight up destroys 100 Thieves' playoff chances. On the other hand, SEN fans would gladly take this result thanks to the head-to-head tiebreaker with 100T favoring them. The four teams qualifying for the playoffs in this scenario will be Crew, Furia, SEN, and NRG. The next scenario we have is if Sentinels and 100 Thieves win their matches this weekend. Another three-way tie ensues between these two teams and Furia. I'm not quite sure how the tiebreaker on this one should be settled, but I think it would be based on the map win-loss record because basing it on the head-to-head would not make any sense. The four teams qualifying for the playoffs in this scenario will be Crew, Furia, Sentinels, and 100 Thieves. The next scenario we have is also an absolute nightmare for 100 Thieves fans, and that's if Sentinels and Furia win. This will push Sentinels 3-2, leaving 100 Thieves in NRG in a 2-3 tie. NRG won their head-to-head match, which means 100T is eliminated from the playoffs. The four teams qualifying in this scenario will be Crew, Furia, Sentinels, and NRG. And now we have the last scenario, and it's if NRG and 100 Thieves win. This brings forth another three-way tie, but this time it will be between Furia, 100T, and NRG. Depending on how the maps would go, this one would either be decided by the map win-loss record or the round differential. Sentinels is eliminated in this scenario. The four teams qualifying in this scenario will be Crew, Furia, NRG, and 100 Thieves. So which scenario would you like to see the most? And so we have a number of scenarios in front of us, and before I answer which I think is most likely to happen, I want to talk about which of these is the best scenario in my opinion. And I'm thinking on the angle of maximum narrative dramatic storytelling, and I think the best one would be if Sentinels and 100 Thieves win. If Sentinels wins, their narrative for the year suddenly shifts from being an irrelevant disappointment into a team that could very well break the current balance of VCT Americas. As for 100 Thieves, it's a two-part story wherein one is the redemption arc, the old core trying to prove that they have what it takes to be on top of Americas once again. And the second narrative where the Timotino and Vore duo is the future. Both teams have that underdog story, and it will be very refreshing to see new teams in the playoffs. I mean, Furia and NRG already had their turn in kickoff. Now it's time for other teams to give it a shot and make their way into the internationals. But then again, no team cares about narratives or storytelling or whatnot. All they care about is winning. And NRG seems to be ramping up. They remembered they were champs and started to put up some wins. And Furia is on cruise control for the most part, so if we're being purely realistic here, I think what's most likely to happen is that NRG and Furia win their respective matches. But as I said earlier, it's going to be a massive weekend for VCT Americas watchers. There are three teams to keep an eye out for. You've got NRG trying to save their legacy. You've got Sentinels clawing their way out of the grave they've put themselves in. And then there's 100 Thieves trying to take a shot at relevancy. I'm curious to know who your best are on this week's matches. As always, drop your thoughts below, leave a like if you enjoyed, hit that sub button so you don't miss out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.